Steel Curtain Network.
Touchdown! Touchdown para Calvin Austin! El Monte Washington es arma. ¿Quién más? ¿Quién más? DJ Watt!
What is up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and welcome to another winning post-game show. It's always nice when the Steelers win 28-15. That score is not actually indicative of how lopsided this game was. Steelers run away with it. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by Dave Schofield and Bryan Davis. Dave, what's up?
Hey, if we're going to have to do a post-game show that starts before midnight and goes into the next day, at least this time we get to do it with a Steelers victory and on top of that, a decisive Steelers victory.
Amen. Bryan, how are you?
I'm James Brown. I feel good, and I'm feeling really good after that win. Yeah, it was decisive. I don't care who the opponent is. I don't care. They came in winning 4 straight. I don't care what the win show was. The Steelers overcame a tough start, and when they got hot, they continued to stay hot.
Absolutely. So there's a lot to get to with this. Before we get to the super chats, let's do knee-jerk reactions. Dave, what's your knee-jerk reaction after the Steelers' 8th win moves their record to 8-6 on the regular season?
Well, what's crazy is the final numbers of this game are going to look like it's not as much of a blowout as what it was. You said it exactly. It was not that close. The Steelers got to a point. It's cold. It's late. Let's not get people hurt. Let's not, give them an opportunity. I love that they were aggressive early. They were, I can't remember which beat reporter put it out there on X. You're like, yeah, Mike Tomlin has been the more aggressive head coach in this game so far. They were going for it on 4th down, even when they weren't converting 3rd downs. They did that early. And then they were wise in the 4th quarter when it's like 4th and a half yard. They're like, no, because why give them some momentum when we can just punt it away? I thought that was very wise. I thought the game plan was good. The execution was even better, even though it took them a little bit to get going. Once it got going, there was no holding them back.
Bryan, knee-jerk reactions. What were they?
Hey, you're using the middle of the field. You're playing smart football. You're playing sound football. And you've got a quarterback that seems like he's dialed in right now. And I still don't think they've been major contributors on the stat sheet. You did get a touchdown from one of the newcomers tonight on wide receiver, but I think that has revitalized Aaron Rodgers, and he looks ready for a stretch run. I liked his accuracy tonight. I liked everything about it. This was a satisfying win that makes you think that anything can happen going forward. And it makes you feel like the playoffs are absolutely a possibility, where we're not just looking for the Steelers to go 9-8. You're looking for the Steelers to get to double digits and see what they can do and how strong they can be. And we've seen Aaron Rodgers take underachieving teams and do some things in the playoffs. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just like the direction they're going in, and seeing 2 victories in December so far. We haven't seen a lot of those lately.
No. I'd have to ask myself, and this is not indicative of the entire team, but just Aaron Rodgers, it almost feels like he's hitting his stride. And I think it might have been, and Dave alluded to this, I think it was from PennLive.com, Nick Farabaugh. He said, I'm going to have to watch this because the Steelers are running a ton of 11 personnel. They've not using the jumbo package much. Guess what Aaron Rodgers likes? 11 personnel. He's not the 3 tight end type of guy. And so it almost feels like and gosh, do I love Troy Aikman. Man, that guy calls people out. I love it. He's calling out the Dolphins for basically being a trash organization at the end of the game. I'm just laughing my rear end off. But he's talking about how the Steelers, in the way that it just feels like Adam Thielen and Marcos Valdes-Scantling just being in the lineup and being on the field has helped Aaron Rodgers. Will it continue? Well, we won't know that, but in the last 2 games, has it? It's hard to tell me that watches the game that it hasn't made a difference. I think it absolutely has made a difference, and that's without them having major contributions, although shout out to MBS for his touchdown in this game. So my knee-jerk reaction is the question is Aaron Rodgers starting to hit his stride at the right time? We will see. We have a lot of super chats to get to. Let's go to Here we go. Cass gives us $4.99. Says adjustments and complimentary football. What an enjoyable game to watch for once. Dave, go ahead.
I was tweeting a lot about complimentary football, and I was putting it in the game thread when I was able to chime in there. And I saw that super chat, and I'm like, that was what I was going to start off with. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give him the fact that people were busted in super chats before the show even started. I'm like,
yeah,
not going to bring it up. That is exactly right. That's what the Steelers did. When after the bookend touchdowns, winning that middle 8, then they went into complimentary mode. 3 and out, touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown. I mean, that's exactly where both sides of the ball can just build off of each other. It was so great to see.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Rob. Rob Chapman gives us $5. Says, glad to see the middle of the field being used and not living in our fears on 4th down. Hey, just people can say all they want about Tomlin, and that's fine. The dude has his warts. Hey, it took some stones early in the game to go for it on 4th down, deep in your own end. He trusted the process. They were 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions. So, hey, it takes some stones to do that. You got no marbles, Brian. All right. That's not 6'7" for those watching. That is not 6'7". Go watch Major League 2.
Yeah, that was wide for that, Brian. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Tom plays games, or Tom Muir gives us $8, $1 per W. Great way to honor the guys going into the ring. Solid effort in all phases. 2 down, 6 to go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you for the tip, Tom. And yes, it was great to see Ben Roethlisberger and Marquise Pouncey and Joey Porter Sr. getting their steel footballs put in the Hall of Honor, and seeing those guys at halftime. It just seems like the Steelers play better when the alumni are around. Maybe they should have them around more often. Okay. Let's go to Permanent Pictures gives us $1.99. Says flat opened up when they started using the middle of the field. Crazy. Yeah. They did. The game did not start off great. It was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, but they heated up eventually. Let's go to Steelheads 477 gives us $5. Dylan Cook or Broderick Jones at left tackle next year.
Well, here's what's okay. He's right, because it's a good thing to say, hey, in other words, he's saying great job tonight, Dylan Cook, which I thought he did a nice job as well.
For sure.
Well, that's a great thing that we can worry about next year if we really want to. Let's just continue to get quality play at left tackle, or as Coach Tomlin said, above the line play, and we'll let those things play out. And that's 2026, Jeff, Brian, and Dave kind of questions to answer.
But I still like me some Broderick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, also, let's try to get Andres Pete back to the practice, and then we'll have even more players to talk about. But I understand what you're saying. Okay. Let's go to Andrew Palladino, gives us $10. Said, my biggest question is, why did this franchise have to get to the lowest of lows? Yes, the fire Mike Tomlin chance to then start playing complimentary football. Why? Why can't we always keep it even? I don't think personally, and I'll answer this first, I don't think that anyone within the organization is purposefully not playing complimentary football. They want to play complimentary football. They talk about it often. They just couldn't. And whether that's coaching, whether that's execution by the players, or whether it's a mixture of both, which is what I would say, I don't know. I don't think it's intentional, but at the same time, it is great to see. It's kind of been building for the last 2 games. Next week's going to be tough. Guys, any comment on that, Dave?
Well, I mean, that game was just so awful, and the pistol formation they had to run, and it just seemed nothing seemed right. So to hear that they had such a terrible week of practice going up to it, the way they talked about it, just made it seem like something was going on where the team was in a funk. And you know what? They got their wake up call. A lot of teams get that at some point in the season. You don't like it. You don't want it to be that way. I'm just glad it's behind us, because I want this team to be a team that continues to be on the rise in the month of December.
Absolutely. Brian, any thoughts on that?
I think Aaron is getting even more of a voice in those meeting rooms. And I feel like they, like you said earlier, the 11 personnel and doing those things, but he has found a connection with a guy like Pat Freiermuth. He's still spreading the ball around a nice bit. Everybody seems to be getting some kind of targets. They might not be as many as you want to have, but the running game looked good. I mean, at one point they were averaging, I believe, 6 yards per carry or something like that Aikman was saying, or was it Buck? I don't know. They were both very solid. Those guys were great.
In the second half, they averaged 6.4.
Okay. But at the beginning, it was like 2 points.
Half, yeah.
It was terrible in the first half.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is once they warmed up, they got things together. But I got to think that the TJ Watt injury was actually very good for the morale of this team. It's not good that it happened. It's not an injury. It's an exit, is absence.
The response to it.
The response. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. And they really responded to it. In fact, it was really funny when Aaron Rodgers, hey, who's seen TJ? I wonder where he's been. And I hope he gets back soon. But it's just one of those things that there were so many people out. James Pierre, it was a big deal. Everybody stepped up. Everybody had ownership in this game. That's why I feel that the complimentary football is starting, and you have everybody that's taking pride in being a Steeler. And I don't think that was the case after the Buffalo game. I thought that Buffalo game was going to kill this team. Kudos for a great response.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be very curious to see, and I'll have to read Dave's article from PFF comes out, what they grade into DeMarvin Leal. Thought it was a genius move by the Steelers promoting Leal from the practice squad for this game. You obviously need some depth at the edge, but you also want to get heavier against the run. The hope is that Derek Harmon will maybe be back next week against Detroit, and they'll need him as they go against Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll talk about that. Let's go to Wilson Pava, last one here. $4.99. Aggressive Tomlin is the best Tomlin. Great win. On to Detroit with a win in hand. Let's keep the good times going. Absolutely, Wilson. Thank you for the tip. Thank you, everyone, for providing some funds. We appreciate it. Let's get this show started as we always do. Actually, we're going to talk about injuries before we even go into the stat line. The Steelers had 2 injuries of note after the game, and they're killers because if it's a severity issue and it's a short week, Isaac Seumalo is dealing with a triceps injury. Don't know what the severity is. It was getting evaluated. I know Dave said in the Slack channel that maybe the score was indicative of him being ruled out. It's possible. I do know with an offensive lineman and the triceps, any lineman, either side, you need that to be able to push. And so you hope that he's going to be okay. The one that really bothers me is Nick Herbig with a hamstring injury. How severe is that? I don't know.
When did that happen? Do we even know?
I don't remember him ever being announced as leaving the game with an injury. So
I just remember looking out there. I'm like, wow, I'm seeing an awful lot of Jack Sawyer. Where's Nick Herbig? I have him as 1 sack on the game, 1+ sack for my parlay, and yeah, he wasn't out there.
Did Tomlin seem to indicate that maybe it was him just saying in the post-game press conference that, that's what you get in late season football or December football, you get something like that. But it almost felt like he was almost intimating that those guys, even though he doesn't know anything, those guys might be fine.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. It's a short week. They do have to travel, so keep that in mind. All right, let's go to the stat sheet. Let's talk about the quarterback, as we always start on the offensive side of the football. Aaron Rodgers goes 23 of 27 for 224 total yards, 8.3 average, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 3 sacks for 23 yards, although that last one he took intentionally. The play wasn't there. He's not about to stop the clock. Finishes with a 125.9 rating. Let's talk about A-Rod. Dave, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I thought he did exactly what you needed him to do tonight. And the fact that, I was saying complimentary football because of the offense to the defense, but my goodness, when they started to open it up with passing, and then it started to open up the run, which opened up more passing, and it just bounced back and forth. I thought that he did a real nice job. It wasn't the biggest thing I've seen for the last 2 games, even though he was targeted a lot last game, was it doesn't seem like Rodgers was only looking to go to DK Metcalf. It looked like he had confidence to go in about anywhere he could go, whether it's dumping it off the running back, short passes to some tight ends, everything else. He just seemed even more comfortable than we had seen him before.
Yeah, that's a good point. Brian, what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers?
Again, I thought he was completely dialed in. I don't think he was ever dialed out. I love the fact that he will badger referees. And I felt like he almost got an assist on He almost should have an assist on that one penalty for the 12 men on the field. He called attention to it. I don't think that was going to get called.
No.
And maybe I'm just crazy and want to give the guy extra credit, but he is a leader of men on the field. He's like having a coach out there. It was probably not his biggest touchdown performance of the year, but it was his most efficient. And I want to call it efficient, but not call it a game managing, display. Because I don't think it was game management. I just thought it was mastery out there. I thought it was kind of a clinic after that first touchdown. And really, if they needed to keep on scoring and going for it in places in that second half, I felt like you would have never seen Waitman on the field. I just thought that I was confident anytime they were lining up for a fourth down. I was confident with a lot. I know they had a lot of third down troubles early on. I thought they just had to thaw out. And once they did, boom.
I thought Aaron Rodgers the last 2 weeks has looked completely in control. And when I say in control, that does not mean that he is in some way, shape, or form calling the plays or he's changing everything at the line of scrimmage. No, he trusts his teammates. He trusts the protection. And yes, like I said, he got sacked 3 times. The guy was not pressured much in this game. They were doing a lot of too high safety looks, and he talked about it after the game. If you were watching ESPN before Tomlin hit his press conference, he said, look, we were just taking what they were giving us. And then eventually it started to break, and we started to finally get our groove. And then they started to hit DK, and he dropped the F-bomb on live television, which I always love. Talking about DK Metcalf throwing Minkah Fitzpatrick to the ground on his touchdown run, just an amazing feat. But he's a freak of nature. So I think Aaron Rodgers is really starting to kind of figure some things out. If he can stay healthy, if the teammates can help him and lift him up, because he's going to need it down the stretch, this could be different. We may have seen the swoon in November and not in December, but I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. All right, let's continue on with the running game. The Pittsburgh Steelers rushed the ball 32 times as a team for 135 yards, 4.2 yard average, 2 touchdowns, one from Jonnu Smith and Connor Hayward. Yep, that's right. You heard that correctly. With a long run of 38 yards, which was Mr. Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell leads the Steelers, 13 carries for 80 yards, a 6.2 yard average on the ground. Jaylen Warren comes in with 12 carries, 33 yards, a 2.8 yard average. So combined, they go over 100 yards. They combine for 25 carries. What did we think about the running game? Dave, I'll let you go first.
Well, I think that they leaned more on Gainwell this game because of Jaylen Warren not being 100%. I think that was the right call. I feel like Jaylen Warren was, my goodness, I thought he looked good on kick returns. That was exploding up in there. But they weren't they weren't wearing him down. Of course, Gainwell, he busted out the big one. But this is what I think is the biggest part of the running game. They had 27 yards on 15 attempts in the first half, which was a 1.8 average. Now, remember, 4 of those attempts were Connor Hayward for 4 yards. So, in other words, they were 11 for 23 otherwise. And they came out in the second half, and they ran, boom, wide open touchdown pass.
On a play action. It looked like a run.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say, Brian?
Wasn't it on a play action?
It very well might have been.
It looked like a run.
Yeah. So the fact that even though they weren't running the ball well in the first half, they figured out something, almost looked like they adjusted a little something maybe in the run game. I don't know, but they came out. They didn't panic because it wasn't working well, but they also didn't just stick with something that wasn't working, because if they weren't running the ball well, who knows if they would have stuck with it. All I know is that they came out that very first drive and was running the ball extremely effective, even before the 38-yard scamper, bust out, whatever it is.
Right.
And yeah, they did have the one that in the first half there where Jaylen Warren had a real nice run that was called back on the hold. But so overall with the run game, I just love that they stuck with it and they used that run game to really open up the passing game.
Brian, thoughts on the running game?
Gentlemen, when you get to a certain age in life, and I think I finally got there, it's not self-deprecating. It's just self-awareness when I say that I'm a giant wimp, especially when I'm sick. And I have no problem to say that. There's things that I'm tough at. But when it comes to sick, you would think I'm dying. One of my wife's friends said the other day, hey, is Brian alive? And she's trying to figure out why, but because basically I guess I was acting like I was dying last Wednesday or something, and my wife was complaining about it. Why am I saying that? Because a lot of people are saying in the live chat, and it's starting to look like everybody's favoring Gainwell over Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren, for a guy that was pretty sick enough to have his game in jeopardy, was grinding hard and running hard, and I thought he looked pretty good. Just things were not clicking early on, but it's now in something for the first time in a long time. Mike Tomlin, I don't think we've ever seen anything but a bell cow. The only time we didn't see a bell cow when it was Jordan Todman and the other guy back in the playoffs because everybody was hurt.
Ben Tate.
No, it wasn't Ben Tate. It was the other guy.
I'm just
but
saying.
Anyways, Ben Tate, that was bad. But the reason I'm saying all this, it's no longer bell cow. It's a running back by committee, and I think it works well for this team because you don't have a superstar back. Jaylen Warren's not a superstar back. Jaylen Warren's very good, but these two are complementing each other very well. So we want to talk about complementary football a lot when we're talking about passing and running and complementing each other. But what if the running backs are complementing each other? And when you put it together, Fitz Toussaint, thank you. When you put it all together and you have 135 yards and you're looking pretty good, and none of those guys are getting touchdowns, but it looked like number 14 Gainwell was going to have a couple in this game. I mean, just a beautiful game. But when you can have that, and they're just as excited when 83 Cam Hayward and 81, you've got two tight ends scoring your rushing touchdowns. Okay, I get it. One's a tush push, but nice running game for me. I was fine.
I'm going to make this super simple for people out there. Unless for some strange reason you have a rooting favorite between Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, why does it matter? Yeah. Are they running the ball well? Are they moving it on the ground? Are they using their dual threat ability? Because both of them have it. Why does it matter? If Kenneth Gainwell's running well, go Kenny G. If Jaylen Warren's running well, here we go, Jaylen. Why do we have to pick a side? This is stupid. What are we talking about? The Steelers rushed for, 135? I think that was their highest total since Chicago. Last two games, they didn't rush for 100 yards combined. Who cares? This is awesome. I love to see the running game going. Dave, what do you want to say?
Yeah, you remember at the beginning of the season when people tried to say it was coaching malpractice that Kenneth Gainwell outsnapped Jaylen Warren. And I'm like, these are the same people that have been saying we need a running back by committee. No, it's not the same people. I know it's not always the same people. It's just
Jeremy Betts.
Different. Different. That's true. I wasn't calling out Jeremy, but I'm just saying.
I'll call him out.
Don't call him out. Good job. But it's different people within Steelers Nation saying stuff. You hear the one story of, why do they have to do a bell cow? Why can't they do more of a running back by committee? And the Steelers are now doing it, and people were upset with the snap counts. I'm like, and Nick Faribault said this on X during the game, and I'm like, this is something I want to talk about probably after the season, but I'll bring it up now just because it's fresh in my mind. He's like, it kind of makes people, well, no, he was calling out the Steelers that it wasn't very wise to do this. My thing was, I'm calling out a lot of the Steelers, quote unquote, draft experts that talked about the Steelers having to go with the running back in the third round. Faribault saying, hey, when you had Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell and you didn't have a second round pick, kind of makes it seem like you probably shouldn't have gone running back in the third round. I'm not going to regret the pick, but everyone, I was saying that in the offseason, this isn't, I told you so or anything. I'm not trying to be that way, But so many people are like, it's not about the question isn't about when Caleb Johnson becomes the guy this year. It's about, will he be the guy the very first week? And I said, I don't think he'll get 5 touches in week 1. Just because I thought the Steelers had some pretty good. I liked the idea of Kenneth Gainwell. I really did. So he's one of those guys. To me, Kenneth Gainwell, Brandon Echols, those are your diamond in the rough free agent pickups from this past year. Those are your, not on the same level, but we say for every James Ferrier, there's a I like to say Dante Moncrief.
I was good. There you go.
Well, the other one is, what's his name? Latavius, the tight end.
Ladarius Green.
Ladarius Green. I said Latavius.
He was injured though.
Yeah, that's the other category. You know what? Who ended up in that category? Those guys aren't even here anymore, in Slay and Thornhill. So, but look at this. You have the Gainwell, the Echols, really good pickups. Don't sleep on Kenneth Gainwell. You're right. We don't have to argue for one over the other. I just want to see the Steelers run the ball and run the ball well. I don't care which number's getting it. And I love seeing those guys last game and another thing, celebrating when the other one does well. Those guys are in it together.
Good, Brian.
Just a quick second. Dave, you're a mathematician. You're a math guy. I think sum is more important than average, and that's what you got to look at when you're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers running backs.
Absolutely. And thanks, me and Joe gives us $5 and says, keep both Warren and Gainwell to keep them both fresh while Johnson develops. Well, Kenneth Gainwell, his contract is on a 1-year deal, so he'll be a free agent. But Jaylen Warren is under contract after this season, so keep that in mind. Thank you for the tip. We do appreciate it. All right. Let's get back to the stat sheet and let's go to the passing game. The Steelers throw for 224 yards as a total, and boy, did they spread the ball around. DK Metcalf led the way, 3 catches, 55 yards, a long of 28, and a touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell, 7 catches for 46 yards. He had a long of 10, an average of 6.6, 7 targets for Kenneth Gainwell. Pat Freiermuth got in on the mix, 3 catches on 5 targets for 45 yards, a long of 22. Darnell Washington, 3 for 4, 25 yards, a long of 13. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS, he had 1 catch, 1 touchdown, 1 target, 19 yards. Jaylen Warren, 3 for 15. Jonnu Smith, 2 for 12. Adam Thielen, 1 for 7, and Calvin Austin targeted 1 time, no catches. But that's a lot of guys catching footballs. Dave, what do you think about the pass catchers?
Like I said, Aaron Rodgers felt comfortable going wherever he wanted to, and that's the key. As long as you need a full unit in order to be able to bring out the best in all of them. And I felt this was one of the more complete receiving efforts. Don't ask me exactly why. I'm just saying it felt that way. It just felt like it was one of those times where it didn't matter who you looked to. They were getting the job done.
Yeah. Brian, thoughts on the pass catchers?
It really did, Dave. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I only recall 2 drops. One was Darnell, and one was, I believe, that target to Austin was a drop as well.
Oh, no, that was a really low throw. That was a bad throw.
Then I'm missing maybe 1 drop. I don't remember much of anything as far as drops go. But
because there was only 4 incompletions? Yeah, it's crazy.
But Darnell's been solid for him, so I'm not going to complain. He does not have a lot of drops, and a lot of people expected him to have a lot of drops when he came in a couple years ago. So I love the effort. I thought they were finding ways to get open. That's what makes them have a possibility to be dangerous, especially when they're using the middle of the field. But what I want to say here is important. It goes back to the running back situation as well. It's the receiver situation. We, as National Football League fans, we want the Jerry Rices. We want the stat leaders. We remember the days of Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh. He was cool and the rest were the gang. And when the gang started to have some touchdowns, then it became a problem and he took off. He had his fur coat and went away because Juju wins the MVP. So the reason I'm bringing that up, I just think it's a problem when we are just relying on having that superstar. But when you have a lot of complementary players, a lot of players that can go ahead and move the chains, I'd rather have 9 guys like that Aaron Rodgers trusts than one superstar. And I think we're finding that out right now. I still think DK Metcalf is a number 1 receiver, a wide receiver 1. But in this offense, the way Aaron Rodgers is running it right now, he doesn't have to be. And when those other guys, when he gets some help, he is so much more effective. 55 yards today, I think that's what he got. Doesn't matter. He had a touchdown. He was when he was running hard and he was punishing. I love it.
Yeah, I think it was the Behind Enemy Lines segment before the Packers game, and I talked to the Packers podcaster, and he said that when Aaron Rodgers was at his best is when he didn't have the superstar wide receiver. Like when you think about who was the receiving core he had in Super Bowl 45, it was Greg Jennings, it was Randall Cobb, it was Jordy Nelson. I mean, they're great names. They're household names, but they're not the Devontae Adams. And then this guy said that when Devontae Adams came is when Aaron Rodgers almost hyper focused on him too much. And sometimes that was to a detriment. But we don't want to spend too much time on the pass catchers. I thought they had a pretty good game all told. Now let's talk about the offensive line. They kept the pressure off Aaron Rodgers. He only had 3 quarterback hits, 3 sacks. Again, that 3rd sack, I hate to put that on the offensive line because he saw the play wasn't there. They did the bootleg. He just basically slid, and that's it. So
and got punished.
He was pissed about it too. Dave, what did you think about the offensive line?
I thought they did a nice job. I thought that I really want to go down and break down the running more, where you, because it's hard to tell on the game broadcast. When it came to pass protection, I thought that they did a nice job. The first sack, the defense made a nice play. The second sack, that was one where Aaron Rodgers went back, held it a little bit longer because DK Metcalf and Darnell Washington were too close to each other. They weren't. Yeah. Somebody wasn't where they were supposed to be. And he, and I think I don't know if it rattled him or whatever. He didn't do the dump off. He got sacked. It was one of those things. But I mean, when you have a team coming in with their 4th left tackle of the season and he's starting the game and you're talking about, the Aaron Rodgers wasn't running for his life. There was a number of times he had plenty of time. I thought overall the offensive line played above the line once again.
Yeah. Brian, thoughts on the O-line?
Yeah, I'm not ready to crown Mr. Cook, but I got to tell you, I thought he had a great game. I'm sorry, number 60.
Yeah, you said Mr. Cook.
Dylan Cook.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay, all of a sudden my head started. Then I was thinking
it's
about
after
Dalvin.
midnight. We don't have to remember everything.
Yeah. So, but you know what? I thought it was a good effort, and I gotta say, when you go ahead and lose a guy like Sayamalu, you're feeling so much better every time Spencer Anderson is getting snaps. I'm starting to feel like that guy is really stepping in, and it's almost like he's making a major push to get that starting job next year with an expiring contract on Sayamalu. I think he's going for it, and I thought 74's played very well. Man, I haven't heard Fautanu's name all year, maybe 1 or 2 penalties. One penalty I think that he got wasn't his fault. They called the wrong guy, but not many penalties. And I just think that they're starting to gel together. McCormick, you're not hearing his name that much either. Frazier, you're not hearing his name. I mean, maybe a couple of weeks ago he had a bad play, but as far as everything goes, no, I like how they're banding together and they're really solid. I mean, you've got a line right now that is playing above it. I thought one of those sacks was, I know we're talking about 2 guys bumping into each other or too close to each other, but I almost felt like one of those sacks, and I can't remember which one, maybe the second. I was thinking it was a coverage sack because I'm like, man, there was nobody around for him to throw to.
Something to consider as well is that when Isaac Seumalo left the game, they kept Spencer Anderson in the jumbo role. Ryan McCullum was inserted into left guard. So just something to think about.
Okay, my bad.
No. You didn't say anything wrong. I'm just adding that.
Until they went to go jumbo.
Okay.
And then
he flexed back out.
Here's something. Put this in your back pocket, you guys, and live chat, and people listening on and at any other time. Good off-season discussion. You ready? If Spencer Anderson eventually slides into a starting job, if you need a jumbo tight end, you know who I'm looking at? I'm looking at Dylan Cook. That's a former quarterback.
True. Good point.
He's got some athleticism there. I think that one could work well if you like that. So keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely. All right. We are finished with the offense when we come back, which also, by the way, shout out to the red zone offense. Want to touch on this real quick. They finished a perfect 3 for 3. I talk about this on Let's Ride all the time. The red zone percentages, the Steelers' offensive red zone percentage coming into this game, they were the 7th best offense. That's going to go up. They were converting at 64.1% of their trips. And when you're scoring touchdowns and Chris Boswell's only kicking extra points, it's a good day at the office. So, all right, when we come back after this break, if you're watching live on any platform, we're not going anywhere. We're going to talk all about the defense. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, Steeler fans, we are back. Second half. Let's get to some super chats here. Our buddy Marky D, Steelers Nation Australia, gives us $10 dingo dollars. Says, good day, Steelers Nation. I have no show this week. However, one message, STFU. If you know, you know. Fire Tomlin, can it? That's what he said. So
that's a tribute to John Cena, is what that is.
That's
also his finishing move. So I'm sure.
Yeah. So for me, I want to say that thank you for the tip first, Mark. Mark's show is not going to be this week. Neither is the Steelers hangover, just because, well, it's Monday night. This is when the Steelers hangover is usually on. And we can't, I gave them the option of doing it before the Scobro show. They chose to take the week off. So we're not going to have the Steelers hangover this week. Marky D's show will be back next week. So we'll be back to regular next week, just to give you a little programming. Justin Gall, he gives us $19.99. Says, attended the game, great energy, fun to see us throw across the middle, especially to our tight ends. Great team win. I'm glad to hear that the environment in Acrisure was better than the last time. Dave,
hey, do you want to know a winner? It's called way to read the crowd. Give us the third quarter renegade when the game, at the moment when at a point in the game that mattered, because that game got so out of hand. It might have been another wasted one later in the fourth quarter. Good job for just go ahead and doing it when it felt right.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, it's crazy to think like last time the Steelers were in Acrisure Stadium, they were booing Renegade, Fire Tomlin chants were breaking out. Different environment. Maybe this starts to get the fans believing again. We shall see. All right, last super chat so far. Steeler fan 69 gives us $5. Says, not Dave friendly. What did the guy say when he got caught playing with himself to an optical illusion? It's not what it looks like. Steeler fan 69 always provides the comedy. I do appreciate it, and we appreciate everyone that is going to give us any of their hard-earned money. We do appreciate it. Thank you all very much. Let's go to the defensive side of the football now, as we are talking about a Steelers run defense. We are going to go right to the run defense because, well, the Steelers played another top 10 running offense. They've played a lot of them this year, and the Miami running offense was averaging 126.5 yards per game, which was 8th best in the league. Coming into this game in Week 15, they held them to 63 yards on 16 carries for a 3.9-yard average. Complimentary football indeed. When you are winning and you're leading, they can't run their way back into it. Devon Achane, however you say it, 12 carries, 60 yards, 5-yard average. Other than that, no one had more than 2 yards rushing. What did you guys think about the run defense? Dave, we'll start with you.
Run defense. Tell you what, early on, it looked like they could really get something going for the Dolphins. The best thing you can do to your run defense is get a big lead, because they had, seriously, the first quarter, the Dolphins ran 3 times for 25 yards. That's 8.3 average. So they only had, you said 60 couple yards, 25 in the first quarter, 27 in the second quarter. So out of their total of 63 yards, 52 of them were in the first half.
Yeah.
52 in the first half compared to the Steelers' 27. So they were out rushing the Steelers in the first half, and they just shut them down in the second half, mainly because they only had 4 carries in the second half because the Steelers, offense got going. So sometimes one of the best things you can have going for a run defense is your offense getting the job done.
Brian, thoughts on the run defense?
All right. I'm not going to say that this was a turning point in the game, but in that very first drive, I believe it was, when they got off the field, and largely because of that big hit on Achane by number 6, Patrick Queen, I thought that was something that really stood out to me, that was a 3 or 4 yard loss. And
that wasn't Achane. That was the other guy because he got hurt.
Okay, it wasn't Achane?
No, it was
Ollie Gordon. Gordon.
Okay.
Because he came back later, but he got hurt on that play.
All I know is it was forgive me for that, but all I know is that was a very nice stop that made me feel that all right, they're going to the ball carrier, and they might get pushed around a little bit, but they'll bend, but they won't break. But then it seemed like the second half comes along, there was no more need to worry about bending or breaking. It was just like, let's get off the field. Excuse me, with no injuries.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Go. Do you want me to go, Brian, or are you good? I'm going to go. I'm going to take over now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, for me, I remember the first play from scrimmage. I'm watching the Steelers. They're like, you can just tell they're itching to get after the run. And I've even thought, didn't say it, didn't tweet it, just thought it. Man, I can see play action coming. What happens? 20-yard play action pass. I'm like, gosh darn it, here we go. It just seemed like the Steelers kind of settled in, and you started to see Captain Cam coming on about midway through the first half. He started dominating the line of scrimmage. Other people started to shed their blocks and get back. And you saw Patrick Queen having a clean lane to get into the middle and to really stop the running game.
Yeah.
It was really from the end of the first quarter, I started to see things kind of shift a little bit. And then also I think about Malik Harrison. He played a lot, especially early in this game. And that's why you have him there. He's your thumper. And a lot of people, I want to give a big shout out to all the people in the live chat who were spot on when they said the Steelers' run defense was better in this game because they didn't have to worry about a running quarterback. That when you have a quarterback that will tuck it and run, that's sometimes where the Steelers struggle. And they are right. You talk about your Lamar Jacksons, your Josh Allens, the last 2 quarterbacks they just faced. Even Caleb Williams could run in Chicago. Drake May could run. Justin Herbert can run. You all see where I'm going with this. Sometimes the Steelers, if you have an offense that can run the ball and the quarterback can also add to that total, it can be a little bit more paralyzing, we'll put it that way. But at the same time, I thought the run defense was it was nice to see for sure. Now let's go to the pass defense. Tua, he has 22 of 28, some garbage time stats, which equate to 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Shout out Asante Samuel Jr. With his first start, I believe, with the Steelers. He was sacked 4 times for a 113.2 rating. Dave, what do you think about the pass defense in terms of the Dolphins' aerial attack?
They wanted Tua to throw.
Yeah.
And he couldn't. I mean, what was the total numbers again? Say it again.
For his passing average or yards,
completion attempts and yards.
Completion 22 of 28 for 253, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 9-yard average.
The reason I want you to say that is because 16 of 18 for 118 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 sacks. That was the fourth quarter. That was when they were already down 28-3. And the Steelers are like, you know what? We're just going to drop back. If you want to dump it off short and take 5-minute drives, go for it. I mean, think about it. Once the Steelers went up, I mean, they were fine giving up a touchdown when you're talking about 4 to 5 minute drives. That's just the way they played it. So pretty much, I mean, think about it. Almost all of his numbers came on those drives, on those two. Well, even the one that finished the game where they ended. That's crazy. That so much of that was the fourth quarter. I mean, his first half numbers were 5 of 8 for 61 yards. And then of course, you had the third quarter, which was negative yardage because of the sacks. So it was just, they did a phenomenal job through 3 quarters. And then by that point, they're just like, you know what? It's cold. We're winning by a bunch. Let's not do something dumb. Let's let them run clock. So yeah, it was a bunch of garbage time numbers.
Yeah. Brian, thoughts on the pass defense?
This is Dave, Jeff, you guys are exactly right. And I will go ahead and say that when you look at a team that gives up a lot in the fourth quarter like that, but it's still you're never really worried whatsoever. I mean, heck, if they would have, Adam Thielen almost made it even more of a game by not covering that onside kick, but luckily Connor was there to do so. But when I look at this is the entire National Football League with a lead in the fourth quarter, with a huge lead in the fourth quarter. You can expect the other team to go ahead and score like that and rack up some numbers, but it doesn't mean anything when you're looking at the scoreboard. It was a dominating win, and those extra scores late meant nothing. I'm going to say, give me Richard Marks, 1987. Don't mean nothing, the things that they say, because that was a stellar effort by those defensive backs. And when you go ahead and you have something like that where they're scoring, they're bound to, because you're in a prevent defense, and not only preventing that, you're preventing them from getting hurt, from injuring your team, especially on a night like that. You take the wrong hit on a blistery night like that, those bones, you feel it. I mean, my gosh, I would be calling Make-A-Wish if it was me getting hit out there.
Just want to mark the tape. It's officially the 16th of December now, as we've moved into what is it, Tuesday, I think? Yeah, I don't know. We have a Richard Marks reference. There you go. Let's mark the tape. Richard Marks.
He's a genius, by the way.
Used to make fun of that guy a lot as a kid. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Him and John Cicada. So let's continue now.
Oh, not John Cicada.
Dude, we got a John Cicada reference?
Come on.
Whoa,
James
Jeff.
sucks.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Maybe sometime we need to go. We could go karaoke so I can bust out my angel.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you have to put on the braces like John Cicada too? Anyways, okay, let's continue.
John Cicada had braces?
At one point he did. Oh my gosh.
We're off the rails.
We are.
We are definitely after midnight, people. That's what you get. But at least once again, we're not wallowing in misery. We're enjoying this great feeling of
all right. Let's talk about the Miami receiving. A-Chain leads the Dolphins in receiving, 6 catches for 67 yards. Darren Waller, 7 of 66, 2 touchdowns. Greg Dulcich, 2 for 46. Jalen Waddle, who just kind of disappeared, 2 for 25. Julian Hill, 2 for 25. Malik Washington, 1 for 10. We've talked about the pass defense. I want to talk about the pass rush. The Steelers did sack Tua 4 times for 31 yards, and they ended up with 5 quarterback hits. The sacks, for those that are curious, Jalen Ramsey had his, Cam Hayward had 1, Peyton Wilson had 1, and Esezi Otomoeo, he had 1. So those are your 4 sacks. What did you think about the pass rush, Dave?
Yeah, I thought the pass rush, I kind of expected a little bit more in the fourth quarter when they knew they were throwing it all the time. But like I said, I thought maybe that's when I was noticing there wasn't Nick Herbig out there. I thought that's where he really could have thrived, but then he was dealing with the hammy. So I thought overall they were doing a nice job all around. I mean, it's one thing to get a sack, but as you all can see, like the Cam Hayward sack, they ended up giving up a big play and getting a first down anyway on that drive. When you had those 2 sacks early in the game on third down, those are the ones that really, really count. Those are the weighty down, let's get a sack type of play. When I say early on, they were in the third quarter, right? Both of them third quarter. I'm talking. It doesn't matter. But in all, I thought it was effective. It's not like it was dominant that, oh my goodness, they're coming out there and he as soon as he's getting the ball, he's got no time to throw, which we've seen from a Steelers defense before. It wasn't that, but it was effective.
Brian, thoughts on the pass rush?
I thought it was great, if you ask me, because I thought they were once they got going, it felt like they were teeing off on one point and trying to get in there, and you did not have TJ Watt in there to do it. And so other guys did step up in a nice way. Doesn't mean that TJ Watt is not needed in this defense. Kevin Smith talks all the time about the Steelers being so much better when they have to step up and simplify. And I felt like it was a simplified game for them. So, very pleased.
Yeah, I think the pass rush, all things considered, and again, I don't know when Nick Herbig left the game. Like, I'd have to go back and try and see, when did we see that you were seeing more and more Jack Sawyer? When did you see DeMarvin Leal being used?
I don't even remember DeMarvin Leal. Honestly, I don't.
Oh, I remember seeing him a couple times. They put him in like obvious running situations. They wanted to set the edge. So, all right. There you go. So good defensive performance for sure. I thought it was fitting when Joey Porter Sr. was on Cam Hayward's podcast and he was talking about, I just saw the clip. I don't listen to the podcast, but I saw the clip where he's talking about how that team, those defenses, they spent so much of their time wanting to keep people off of 100 yards rushing. That secondary players, Troy, Ike, Deshae, they would be so mad. They would be fine giving up 300 yards receiving, but don't give up 100 yards rushing. Fitting that they're there, getting honored, and the Steelers do the thing on the run defense. All right, let's do some super chats here. Thanks, Mean Joe gives us $5. Says, finally played good defense without TJ. Dedicate tonight's solid win to number 90. Big shout out to Cam for doing the TJ celebration.
2-11 now.
Yes, but Cam Hayward doing the TJ celebration after the sack was a good touch. Let's go to Eric. He gives us $5. Says, I'm not sure I want to admit this. I've read it. You don't. Richard Marks is one of my favorites in the 80s, had all his cassettes.
That was worth $5, and that was probably more than a Richard Marks cassette cost back then. But I am just going to say that you guys are lucky that there's not a bad language tomorrow. It's preempted because we had the special bad language last night because of the Monday night game. It would be a Richard Marks retrospective.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm telling you, not only a song writing genius, he was magic on the pop charts. Hey, I won't stop until I'm satisfied, boys.
All right. Thanks, Mean Joe gives us another $5. It says, great news on the home front. I start my retirement this week. Congratulations, Mean
Congratulations, Joe. Mean Joe.
You made it.
I'm never going to retire, so I'm envious.
You and me both. All right. Let's finish this up with some final thoughts. Dave, I'll let you go first.
Final thoughts. I had some great final thoughts, but it's after midnight. And I've already forgot what they were. But really good for the Steelers to get off the schneid with several things. The TJ Watt's not in the lineup. They can't win games. The Derek Hartman's not in the lineup. You can't stop the run. You got to admit, the thing that Derek Hartman does so well is he keeps the linebackers clean very well, and the linebackers were playing much more clean tonight, and that made a big difference in that. So kudos to the guys that were on the field getting the job done tonight. Is it perfection? You're never going to find perfection. You're just not going to do it. That's going to be very rare. Alex Highsmith had an opportunity. Oh, he was kicking himself for not getting that interception. That came that way. But in all, it was so nice to have a game that I was still antsy at halftime. I honestly felt like, all right, the Steelers before the half, they're at least going to tie this game. They're at least going to get a field goal. And then they got the touchdown. Like, they're going to come out and get at least a field goal and be up by a touchdown. They got another touchdown. The 3 and out. And I'm like, before I know it, they got the ball back and they're moving again. And it was just the weight lifted off of having to go through this game. My youngest was in bed, but the rest of my family, we were all piled on the couch watching it together to enjoy a nice Steelers win. Now they got to move on. They got a big test this week. But here's something that some people, this might not matter to you. And you might want to say, well, so what did this game really mean? Yeah, the Steelers, they're still up. They're still up a game on the Ravens and currently hold the tiebreaker against them. That's a big deal. But by the Steelers winning this game, they are guaranteed that no matter that they can't fall off a cliff and be eliminated by the end of the season. They are going to be playing meaningful football through the end of the season, no matter what. I know some people are like, well, why are you satisfied with that? Guess what? 3 weeks ago, yes, that would have been a really big deal if you were telling me this 3 weeks ago. But here we are, and the Steelers are playing better now. You've just got to keep that going through this month, and it's really excited. Great execution, great game plan. Kudos to everyone around on this one.
Brian, final thoughts.
All right, let's since you don't want Richard Marks, let's do some Counting Crows. I'm hoping for a long December and moving into January as well. And when I look at all of this, I've got a couple quick thoughts. Everybody's talking about with the Pickens trade, and just a couple of weeks ago, there were Fire Omar Khan talks too, and how he is he's a fraud, and there was stuff like that. And this team really showed what this guy does by bringing in a couple free agents like a Thielen, like a MVS. They didn't do a lot, but their presence. Remember the Ed Gennaro thing from Necessary Roughness that I was talking about. Their presence means a lot. Asante Samuel had an interception today. You're keeping a guy like DeMarvin Leal around. Kyle Duggar didn't play, but Kyle Duggar this season. So this man's done a lot, and I think he has done some executive of the year type stuff. One of these days he'll get one of those. Probably not this year, but kudos to him. But as far as everything else goes, man, Dave's right. Jeff's right. It was nice to sit back and know that, all right, next week's another week. Next week's a chance for a winning season. And I know a lot of people don't consider 9-8 a winning season, but I'm not going to be satisfied with 9-8 right now because there's 3 games left to play, and you've got an opportunity to win all 3 of them. I know Detroit's tough. You've got to be aggressive and match Detroit, but Detroit is not bulletproof either. They've got a lot of losses, and right now they're not in the playoff race. They are on the outside the bubble. So they're going to be very desperate going in. So it's going to be very interesting. Hope you get some people back. But in my house right now, with 10 days left before Christmas, I feel like this was a Christmas gift. And so do the Dachshunds, because there was 4 instances where the wieners were stuffed with cheese. So very happy wieners in my house. The Dachshunds are happy. They, oh my gosh, one almost killed my wife under the covers, and I yelled touchdown Steelers. Boom. I it went crazy to get out of there and rush me to get his cheese. So the cheese is going to continue. So hashtag happy cheesy wieners.
There you go. My family was all down here at one point watching the game. It was actually enjoyable. It was fun. I wasn't really pissed off. So it was a good experience. Yeah. I do want to remind everyone that's watching, listening, that we here at the Steel Curtain Network are extremely proud of our product, and we can't do it and can't spread this. It's a grassroots movement. We need you to help. So what I ask everyone to do is, you're watching on YouTube, share the video, share it with a Steeler friend, share it on social media. If you're listening to this on audio, share our podcast platform, no matter where you listen, Spotify, Apple, doesn't matter. It does help. Getting us in front of new Steeler fans is how we grow this thing. We continue to work hard, and steelcurtainnetwork.com is a labor of love for everyone that writes there. So go check it out. It's completely free. steelcurtainnetwork.com. Check us out on all of our podcasts, all the individual podcasts we do. You'll have Dave doing his Pittsburgh Standard Time. You'll have Brian and Coach tomorrow, right? For the Here We Go Steelers show.
I was going to ask you that. I don't know the schedule.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'll be back twice later today. Technically, since it's Tuesday, because we'll have a Tomlin press conference tomorrow. We got Sco Bro tomorrow night.
I'm assuming, Kevin and we're in it to win it.
We'll make it work. I will be back with a special Let's Ride tomorrow. Check us out everywhere. You know how we finish these up with the post-game show. Thank you all for tuning in. Steelers win. We'll see you next Sunday. Take it easy, everyone.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.